looking at us.
They won't. Hey, we're back for the third segment of the Conscious Living Show. We're waiting to get cued from the producer, so stay tuned for our third segment, which is we're going to be talking a little bit about conversion therapy and the founder of conversion therapy and what that is and what happened. If you have questions, you can go to our YouTube channel, The Conscious Living Show, or email me at drnancy@drnsp.com. Okay. So we're live. Nobody's coming
in. Yeah, that might not work. Going in and out.
Doesn't matter. It's more for YouTube. Welcome back. You're listening to the Conscious Living Show, and Mark and I are here today talking about some really interesting things to us. We hope they bring some interest in conversations to you. We're all about stimulating conversations, right?
Absolutely. Logic and how you're thinking, mathematics.
So we're going to talk a little bit now about the conversion therapy and the founder of conversion therapy. And for those of you who aren't familiar with what is conversion therapy, it is a style of therapy that was designed to cure people of being gay. And this guy created this system about 20 plus years ago. And, you know, we always say that, what's that saying? Thou doth protest too much or something like that. So this guy definitely had a thing out for people who were gay and used his church format. We have a local church in Reading called Bethel that does the same thing. And, you know, he's just officially come out as gay and has now talking about, and he's not the first person that has come out as gay who has promoted and propelled the movement of conversion therapy. And what he's saying now is just now he's coming out with how much he has been suffering for 20 years, you know, feeling guilt and shame and fear and blame and all of these emotions that really have ruined his quality of life.
You know, I didn't look into this. Did he fail his conversion therapy?
Yes. Well, and you know, the reality is everybody fails it. I mean, you can't turn somebody that's gay into being hetero or somebody that's hetero into being gay. These things this is a myth. So, but we have these religions that really push this judgment around human sexuality. They find something in the Bible that they can twist around and make about this. And, you know, it's absurd what we do to other human beings who don't match up with how we see the world. It really is. It's cruel and absurd. So,
well, Dr. Ted had that mission when he first started.
He did. He was sent out by the Methodist Church to cure homosexuality. This was back in the 70s. And he, as a Methodist minister, we're talking about Dr. Ted McIlvena, went out to try to cure homosexuality. And lo and behold, he came back to the church and said, you know, before I do that, perhaps I should learn more about human sexuality to begin with.
Why did he say that, though?
Well, because he just thought it was mean to go out and judge and shame people for being who they were happy to be.
But I thought also he said he wasn't doing a very good job.
Well, and he was failing, yeah.
Okay. And I think that for me, that's the critical concept there, is that
right.
Is that he took time to reevaluate whether or not what he was doing was effective, because people are going to try things all of the time, and that's how we make progress. We try and we fail. But I think other people get finances and other pressures placed on them. If you're making your life's living by converting people and selling a conversion program,
Yeah.
it gets hard to be objective about that. And just took this gentleman 20 years to realize that he was making himself miserable. Now it'll be interesting to see if he realizes that he was making others miserable.
He is. He's
well.
feeling horrible guilt. Yeah.
And so always reflecting back on what you're doing and is it effective is critical, and especially in the medical science.
Right.
Where you get it wrong all the time. Yeah.
Well, here's another issue with the conversion therapy program, that there's two academies that people refer to in terms of the science behind conversion therapy, because there's a lot of research that's been done in this field. This isn't undocumented that conversion therapy does not work. But there's one group, so that we have the American Academy of Pediatrics, and then we have the American College of Pediatricians. They both sound very official, right? A lot of people think they're one and the same. But when you dig a little deeper, the American Academy of Pediatrics, which was founded in 1930 and has 64,000 plus members, that has been doing the science and the research on pediatric health and wellness. That's the real McCoy. The American College of Pediatricians, however, which still sounds pretty official, was founded in 2002. It has between 60 and 200 members, and their primary focus is advocating against homosexuality and transgenderism. That's their primary goal. So if you go to their website, that's all you're going to find is anti-gay, anti-trans. This woman came out with this horrible video that depicted that allowing a child to express their transsexuality was child abuse. I mean, she was violent about it.
Yeah.
And this is not a real organization. They have no scientific basis. They are not recognized by the American Academy of Pediatrics as a valid organization. So just beware when you're looking for research on these things and you're trying to understand where people are coming from. Dig deep before you make your assessments.
You know, this is awkward because we've often felt my individual belief is that you don't indoctrinate children before adulthood into religion, and of course that's self-serving. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in religion, but I do believe that adults have a better mental capacity to do that, to make their own personal choice, whereas an indoctrinated child cannot. But the issue of gender preference and gender identity come up much earlier. And that complicates it because they're still under the parents' umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
They're evolving children and evolving adults, and it's under that umbrella that this all comes into importance.
Most people know their sexual orientation around the age of 3. So if you think back to your childhood, you knew who you were attracted to. And so if we set the tone that if we're going to punish or criticize or chastise our children for who they like, who they're drawn to, we're only going to do them harm, and we're only going to teach them to lie to us. So it's really important that you, before people become parents or when their babies are first born, that they do some introspection and figure out what their judgments and their fears are, and to really get educated. This is a very important time for freedom and equality and an egalitarian society where people are treated fairly. And so it's not fair to judge or shame somebody because of who they are, whether it's because they're a woman or a man, because they're black or white, because they're gay or straight. So we really want to be mindful of how we're treating other human beings. I still like the term humanist,
right?
That we really want to stay awake. And
but this is such a complex subject. I mean, one of the things that happens to me at the clinic so often is that somebody will come in and you cannot tell the gender of the child based on their dress and their appearance.
Okay.
And when you get it wrong, you're chastised terribly. And so it's kind of fascinating. So you try to start being more gender neutral with
Yeah,
all of
that's safe.
your, it's like saying, oh, how far along are you, and finding out somebody's not pregnant. That's never a good thing,
No.
but it's not with intention that I do that. And yet I get this fire coming back that I've misidentified their child, because they know what their child is, but nobody else does, because they're not dressing them along the lines of norms for gender. And it's very interesting concept.
I have a cure for that.
Mhm.
So what a lot of people are doing now is on their intake forms, they ask how you would like to identify. What are the pronouns you like to be referred to as? And I did this in my group in Jamaica. And it was really interesting. There were some women in the group who preferred to be referred to as he. So, you can say, my name's Nancy, and my pronouns are she and her. But then we at least give that person a chance to identify themselves. It's not up to us to identify anybody. What does it matter? What I think you are, what you look like is irrelevant. It's how you want to identify, and then I want to honor that. So it's better just to ask and have that on the intake form. Then there's no question. What pronouns do you want?
Well, it's difficult because we do have gender dress preferences and such like that.
But that's only specific to the person individuality, not to anybody else's judgment. So I think we need to stop trying to judge other people. Is that person gay? Is that person a girl? Is that person a boy? What does it matter? Unless you want to have sex, unless you're going to have sex with somebody, you probably don't need to know.
Right.
So
do you want to leave clues or not, or not?
And maybe you don't. I mean, it's because some people want to be more ambiguous.
Well, and if you're ambiguous, then don't get mad when people guess wrong.
Well, but if you're ambiguous, it's just a they.
Right.
Stay neutral. If you can't tell, they're not expressing it with however they're presenting themselves, then they prefer the they. You can be safe with that. All right, we're about ready for another break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about another hot topic, which is new vaccine laws in California. And I don't know how this is spreading across the country. California does seem to always kind of go over the edge or off the cliff or up the mountain. I'm not sure which. So we're going to talk about the new vaccine law that was passed, and maybe get some input. These are all going to be up on the YouTube channel, which is the Conscious Living Show. Go to YouTube, you can find it. Please subscribe today so that you don't miss out on anything we put up there later. All right, we'll be right back here after the break.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I wanted to read Linda's.
Okay. Past little boys wore dresses up into the age of 7. The colors were actually reversed as far as pink in boys, blue is for girls, and that was after children were dressed in mostly white. Beautiful. I think we have this box that we try to put people in so we understand them, or we know how to categorize them. But I think that in and of itself leads to a lot of discrimination, because if I'm not respecting women and I think you're a girl, I might disrespect you because of that. So we have to really start to shift our consciousness and also ask.
Well, doesn't the person have to be aware that pink is mostly identified as girl, and if they're neutral, then not wear pink?
But that's a social construct.
Right.
That's not there's no basis to that. Girls aren't born pink.
No.
That's just a social construct.
Right.
So it's becoming irrelevant.
All right.
No, because boys can wear pink. All right. So we're going to sign off of the show here. We'll be right back for the second segment.
Please come back.
Yeah, please come back.